Well, question period can get pretty combative, but today it reached new depths. Unparliamentary language had the Speaker acting more like a hockey referee. And just like a ref, he benched the Leader of the Official Opposition. The CBC's Olivia Stefanovic is on the story and joins us live from Ottawa. Olivia, I mean, this was really quite something that we have seen, and I don't think we've ever seen before. Tell us about what's going on.
That's right, Andrew. Well, this is an unprecedented situation with not only the Leader of the Official Opposition being ejected from the House of Commons, his colleague, Conservative MP as well, and then all the members of his party from the Conservatives leaving the House of Commons together, leaving no Conservative left in the benches for the rest of question period. Now, this all started from insults that were exchanged between the Leader of the Official Opposition and the Prime Minister. Things got quite heated. At one point, the Speaker asked the Leader of the Official Opposition, Conservative Leader Pierre Poilievre, to rephrase one of his comments. That led to his fellow MP, Rachel Thomas, being ejected from the House of Commons because she called the Speaker a disgrace. And there were many other insults that were thrown around. You could hear a lot of yelling. And then there was this moment from Poilievre using a term that the Speaker did not like against the Prime Minister. Let's take a listen.
When will we put an end to this wacko policy by this wacko Prime Minister?
No. I'm going to ask the Honourable Leader of the Opposition to withdraw that term, which is not considered parliamentary.
I replace wacko with extremist.
So it's that moment in which Poilievre was asked to leave the House of Commons. He wanted to replace the word, as you heard, wacko with extremist in describing the Prime Minister. And because that's unparliamentary language, the Speaker ejected him from the House of Commons, which is not something we've seen before. Poilievre the Speaker did threaten to eject him in the past, but we haven't seen him go this far before. And we have seen, Andrew, as well, tension build between the opposition benches and this particular Speaker for some time, but it reached a climax today. Greg Fergus, of course, was brought in after Anthony Rota stepped aside, and the Conservatives have accused him on numerous occasions of being impartial, and today just, of course, reached this climax in which the Leader of the Official Opposition was kicked out. And so,
Olivia, let's just continue on this topic because Steve McKinnon, the government House Leader, came out and spoke a little bit about this and was also using some very strong language. And we want to mention to our viewers that we do expect to hear from the Conservatives any moment now, and we will obviously bring that to our viewers live. But let's talk a little bit about the kind of response to this chaos that we saw in the House of Commons.
Well, McKinnon was asked several times by reporters about whether the Liberal government has any responsibility in any of this because of the fact that the House of Commons has been allowed to get to this point. McKinnon rejected that, and he took aim at the Conservatives, not just because of this wacko comment about the Prime Minister, but because of the fact that the Leader of the Official Opposition made insinuations during his remarks in the House of Commons, calling the Prime Minister's policies dangerous, even leading to the deaths of thousands of Canadians. So these are this is the type of language, the strong language that was used by the Conservatives that the Liberals are really taking issue with. And McKinnon even called this dangerous language, and he even called it right-wing. So he's really concerned about this. And he also brought up the fact that Pierre Poilievre has floated policies using all constitutional tools to push through his criminal justice reforms that he wants to see happen if he becomes Prime Minister. Now, Poilievre commented on this yesterday when he spoke to the Canadian Police Association. Let's hear exactly what he told them.
All of my proposals are constitutional, and we will make them constitutional using whatever tools the Constitution allows me to use to make them constitutional. I think you know exactly what I mean.
So whatever tools the Constitution allows him, that's a comment that drew criticism, even controversy, after the leader of the official opposition made this comment yesterday before the Canadian Police Association. What Poilievre is looking to do is he says he wants to see tougher bail requirements. He also wants to make it harder for convicted murderers to be transferred out of maximum security prisons. But it's not so much what he wants to do, but how he wants to do this, which is sparking controversy, especially among his political opponents, who accuse him of wanting to override the Charter of Rights and Freedoms through the notwithstanding clause. This is something that Poilievre has floated before. He says he would like to use the notwithstanding clause to reverse a decision that was made in 2022 by the Supreme Court of Canada about the Quebec City mosque shooter. This was a decision that limited the shooter's ineligibility for parole to 25 years. So, instead of having consecutive 25-year sentences, the top court in Canada limited this to just 25 years. And this is something that Poilievre said he would override under this notwithstanding clause. However, by doing so, he would temporarily override the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And that is what his political opponents are seizing on. And they continue to take issue with this today, Andrew.
And in fact, Olivia, we heard from the Prime Minister about this topic. He was asked a little bit about this, and let's listen to a little bit about how he characterized what Pierre Poilievre said yesterday.
Pierre Poilievre just proposed to override the fundamental freedoms and protections of Canadians. Override the charter that is there to protect women, minorities, to us LGBTQI+ communities. That's not right, and it's not responsible. On top of that, he's spending time with far-right nationalist groups, refusing to condemn them or garbage conspiracy theorists like Alex Jones because he wants their votes. Think about it. That is not responsible leadership. That is dangerous for democracy. It's dangerous for Canadians.
And I should mention, Olivia, that was just before a question period that we saw the Prime Minister make those comments, and then question period. I mean, just to talk a little bit more about what we saw and just to contextualize it all, it was, as you said, unprecedented, something that we haven't seen, and now there are kind of questions going forward about what's going on. A lot of Canadians are probably watching and wondering what is going on in terms of the House of Commons and the kind of rhetoric that we're seeing across the aisle.
Well, Andrew, we're looking for that clarity too, frankly. We are expecting to hear from the Conservatives soon. Just back to the notwithstanding clause, this is something that was used by provincial governments before, including Ontario for back-to-work legislation and other provinces, but it's never been used at the federal level. And that's a concern that some critics have about the fact that the Conservative leader may choose to use this if he becomes Prime Minister, and that this could set perhaps what the Prime Minister calls a dangerous precedent for future federal governments, and that we could see this happen more often where governments override the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So that's something that the Prime Minister is taking issue with today when it comes to the leader of the official opposition, but also some other issues. We saw the Prime Minister in the House of Commons ask the leader of the official opposition to stand and apologize for the endorsements that he received and to, basically distance himself from some of these endorsements, including an endorsement from conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. We did not see the leader of the official opposition do that. He did not apologize or, distance himself today about that at all. He did not reject that endorsement. But instead, what we did here in the House of Commons is Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader, making some very personal attacks on the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister hitting back with this criticism that I mentioned of Poilievre. So it got quite nasty at times, and the Speaker, which has been struggling at times to control the House of Commons, he really intervened today and took the significant step of not only throwing out one Conservative MP, but the leader of the opposition. So where does this go? Likely there will be some criticism from the Conservatives, but we have to wait and see what they have to say, Andrew.
Olivia, thank you. Busy day. The CBC's Olivia Stefanovich live in Ottawa.